one couple was fighting one time in this party. It was really funny. And she had turned around to go, and he went on his knees and yelled out, it's like, I fucking can't live without you. Don't you see? I'm in love with you, bastard. She started crying, and he started crying, and there was just tears everywhere. Everyone was like, oh, I was cracking up. But I find things like that funny. Yeah. But that was the sweetest thing I ever saw.
Anybody can be loving if everybody's loving you. The challenge is when somebody's not loving you, can you be loving? And that's what marriage is all about. Because, you know, when you live with somebody, there are days when they just can't give you what you deserve. There are days when they can't give you what you need. They're not going to be that perfect person they were at that time in your life. And so those times, can you be strong enough within yourself to say, they need my love?
You build a relationship by surviving the problems. Do you see? I like Thomas More's book, Soulmates, because he says walk with, work with.
When the whole issue of affairs come up, why do they come up? And often it's simply lack of education. It's not the ability to maintain a monogamous relationship. It's the lack of understanding of how effective and useful it is. And often people think, oh, my partner just won't know, or it won't upset them, or they're just in the moment and they don't think. Particularly with men, they just don't think. It's as if God gave men two brains, north and south, and only enough blood for one brain at a time. And when the blood goes south, when he's a young man, he just doesn't think. He's just in that moment and he doesn't think. And gradually with maturity and maybe increased blood supply, you're able to think when the blood goes south. I mean, it's normal and natural for men to be attracted to women.
We are chemically built to be monogamous. They're not chemically built to be monogamous. They're chemically built to be polygamous. Men are often very clear about that. I don't know if I can be, for the next 30 years, monogamous. Can you live with the idea that the wrong drink in the right city with the wrong waitress may end up in a sports event?
One of the techniques I teach men when they feel tempted by a woman is just start talking about their wife. And when they talk about their wife, then suddenly those feelings go away. Because often men just forget everything. Men tend to have a tunnel vision, and they just focus on one thing and they forget everything else. Whereas women will tend to see the whole bigger picture. And I'm not implying that women have less affairs, because there's some research that say women have just as many affairs as men. But the difference between women is often, most of the time when women have affairs, is because they're just satisfied in their relationships. And just the possibility of that fulfillment is very tempting to them. They're looking for that. For men, they can be very satisfied in their relationships, but the opportunity to have an affair is just so delicious to him in that moment. He figures, why not? You know, all of his willpower just sort of melts away. But as he matures, he can gain that strength and the education to know that there's a benefit to preserving this monogamous relationship, because when you have one partner, it nurtures her particularly to feel special. And when she feels special and honored, then she can give back very easily the love he wants, which is to feel really appreciated.
One of my clients at work, she came in during, I don't know, just because she was just getting a manicure. And her husband came in earlier that day and said, look, I'm going to pay for my wife's nails. So I said, all right. So I put that aside. So after the manicure, I said, your husband came in and took care of it for you. And she was just so happy, talking about her hubby, how much she loves him. I'm like, did you guys just get married? She's like, no, we've been married for 30 years. You know, we have 3 children. And it was just like the happiness and the, like, just that feeling was just still there. It was just so, like, it was just awesome. Like that, like I was just like, that's awesome. Like that's just, they're in love, you know? Yeah.
As long as men are sexual animals, you know, let's take care of it. In other words, a lady in the front room and a sex object in the back, you know, that's a nice combination. I personally do not believe a sexual slip is absolute requirement for a divorce. Do you see? Yeah. I believe that there's a price to be paid, and the wound of his woman's feelings may be it, or an illegitimate pregnancy may be it, but we've got to work with nature. And when you work with nature, you realize there's no one worth marrying. We're all goofy. You marry the marriage. You negotiate the best deal you can, and you understand that trustworthiness is built over time And periodically there may be a slip. And with that slip, it's got to be regenerated and reconstituted.
So many people blame their partners for making them unhappy. My wife could be, in a bad mood and say something that upset me. It will upset me. And then I say, okay, I'm going to go do something to make me happy. I go drive my car, listen to some music or meditate, and I'm happy again. Then I come back and I'm generous with my love instead of waiting for her to apologize and change. Can't change people. You got to allow people to be themselves.
On the days when you don't like each other, ugh, why am I here? You're committed to the relationship. And that will carry you through till you fall back in love with your partner. It's an ebb and flow. You like and dislike each other on a regular flowing basis.
See, most people think real love is, I need you, I need you. But it never feels like this. Real love feels like this. There's no, I do need you, but I also want you to be happy. So there's no clinging, there's no pulling. It's just like pure appreciation when I'm in your presence, as opposed to must have more, must have more. Just the allowing of someone to be who they are, perfect and imperfect at the same time, and feeling a true appreciation and honoring and respect. That's real love.